This is Paul Kelly for ESBR Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Ryan Burnett. Ryan, a busy night there tonight. First three fights, all your fighters. But yeah, I'm sure you enjoyed it.
Busy night, 3 fights, 3 wins. So I could have done with them spread out a little bit, but got back to back, got all the wins. So happy.
If we could run through them, obviously James Freeman up first. He moved to 4-0, I believe. Obviously at welterweight. What did you make of his performance?
Good. I mean, it was a negative opponent. He was there to survive. So I think when you give James something, then he works it off a bit better. Sort of, as the saying goes, better to the opponent, better to the fighter. And I think that's a classic case when it comes to James Freeman.
Absolutely. As you said, win's a win. And then second up, you obviously had Charles McDonagh. I was speaking to Charles earlier. He was singing your praises, enjoys being in the gym. And yeah, what did you make of his performance? A good mover.
With Charles, I'm very happy. If you see Charles's pro debut and you see that fight, it is two totally different fighters. It's all well and good giving the fighter their instructions, but it's whether they do it or not. And with Charles, I've told him what to do, and he took it on board, and he did exactly what I told him to do. So with Charles, I'm a happy coach with Charles.
Absolutely, and then Quinn there as well, going 6 rounds, getting the rounds working, back to winning ways, of course, as well. First fight together, I think he's obviously been training a while, but first fight together, what did you make of Conor's performance?
To be honest, you can't tell much because the guy was there to survive. He was a boxing bag for 6 rounds. So with Conor, yes, there's been plenty of improvements, but unfortunately for tonight, you couldn't really see them because the opponent was there to survive, and that's just the way it is. But I think when you see Conor against a real competitive opponent, I think that's when you want to see him come back into himself.
We obviously saw Conor, as I said before this, he did lose for the first time as a professional. Will has been obviously gotten for himself. He was a favourite going into that fight. What have you kind of spoken to him about? Since him losing that and then him coming to you, and what teachings have you given to him? Because that would have been a tough period. I know he wasn't too pleased with his performance that night.
No, he wasn't too pleased with himself, but Conor carries a very positive mindset, so to speak, and the stuff that with Conor we're now been working on, that it's not all about putting your hands on someone. There's a whole array of other aspects need to go in front of putting your hand on someone, and that's what we've been working on. We're working on head movement and mindset and angles and stuff like that. Like I said, he didn't really show it tonight simply because of the opponent which was given, but like I said, see when he's up against it here, against a live opponent, I think you want to see a different Conor that you'd seen previously.
And what's the ideal plan for him in 2025? Do you want to try and get him back out as soon as possible? He's obviously signs with Queensbury.
See, now he's back to winning ways, he's back moving straight. It has to be straight into a title fight. I mean, I think he's ready for a title fight. He's matured mentally, physically. He's there for it. So I would love to see his next fight be for a title.
When you say title, what type of title are you talking about? Obviously, it was for the Commonwealth title he fought. Is British title is an option?
Yeah, I mean, see, I would like to see him. Go straight to a British title. I would love to see him get a British title. British title is a great stepping stone for going up, and I think he's very capable of getting that British title. So I'd like to see him move towards that.
Absolutely as well, and great getting him active on this card as well. But I imagine he'll want to as well showcase maybe his skills on bigger Queensbury cards as well, against, as you said, maybe fighters that are maybe a little bit more well known and are there to win as well. Because as we've seen in boxing now as well, I think there's this kind of want to make 50-50 fights, and then obviously, as you mentioned already, that's when you think you'll see the best of Conor Quinn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got a great platform there with Queensbury. Now he's back to winning ways. He can get back moving with Queensbury, and I think. With where he's at now, I think once he gets moving with Queensbury, everything's going to move correctly for him.
Just away from your fighters, I just want to ask, obviously, a few things in the boxing world got announced recently. Eubank Jr., Conor Benn's finally going to happen in April. Your thoughts on that fight, and if you had to pick someone, which way are you leaning for that one?
I just think I would edge towards Eubank. I just think Eubank's just going to be the bigger guy, sharper guy. So with that fight, I would edge towards Eubank.
And I remember I spoke to you before, and I don't know if you remember the Odyssey, and I said about the Inoue thing. You obviously saw him recently fighting as well. What do you make of him? Eddie Hearn came out and said that he was ducking MJ Akhmadaliev. If that was a fight, do you think that it's a fight he would win? Do you want to see him fight Nakatani, even Bam Rodriguez? I know there's a few weight divisions difference. What are the fights you kind of want to see Inoue in with?
I don't think he's ducking anyone. I mean, you can't say Inoue's ducking anyone. Inoue's pound for pound great now. I think he's an incredible fighter. So Eddie's just creating a bit of smoke when he says Inoue's ducking someone. But for Inoue, I would love to see Inoue fight. I would love to see him fight. I think Bam Rodriguez. If Rodriguez came up a bit and was matured into maybe a bantamweight or super bantam, that would be a real good one.
People are obviously talking about a move up to featherweight, and whether do you think that Inoue could, win a world title at featherweight? I know it's only another 4 pounds, or do you think then when you're looking at someone like an Espinosa who's 6'1", Brandon Figueroa who's like 6 foot as well, is that just a step too far?
I don't know if it's a step too far. I think he's very capable of doing it, but I don't think he could do it in the fashion that he's been doing it previously. I think he's already up. He's high on the weight now. He's a small guy, so for him to move up to featherweight would be a bit of a push, but he's got all the skill, all the power to be able to do it. So I wouldn't say that it's impossible, no.
Do you think that's what would beat him in the end? Like we saw Lomachenko go all the way up to lightweight before he was beaten. People saying it's maybe just the size that beat him in the end rather than the skill. Is that what you could maybe see the case with Inoue? It's a step. If he did go too far, that's maybe when we would see him get beaten.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, you got to stack the cards against him to beat him, and the only way really to do that is to put him in against someone who's naturally £10, £15 heavier than him. That's the only way you can really slow down a fighter like Inoue when the cards are stacked against him.
And just the last couple from me, Rance, we obviously saw Tyson Fury announced his retirement. Was that a shock to you? Do you think that is the whole Anthony Joshua fight, will that ever happen? Do you think he'll come back? What are your thoughts?
Well, Fury's announced his retirement probably about 15 times now. So chances, say if someone waves a big check in front of him to fight Joshua, it wouldn't surprise me if he came out of retirement like that.
Do you think that's maybe the whole ploy, the fact that he's retired, so you're going to have to pay him more?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's a pulling card, that's for sure. But yeah, it's just Tyson's all mind games and playing and huffing and puffing, so I'm not surprised he's called retirement.
And just finally, I wanted to ask you about this February 22nd card. I'm sure these are cards that you wish you could have fought on as well during your career. They've got Dubois against Joseph Parker is a great fight. We've got the rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol. What do you make of that card and those top 2 fights?
See what Turki Alalshikh is doing for boxing is absolutely incredible. You wouldn't see maybe 3 years ago, you would never have seen a card like that. It would never exist. But now he's making these. He's bringing boxing back to life. That Bivol and that Beterbiev card is the best card I've ever seen. So I mean, hats off to Turki Alalshikh for it. It's he's doing some job.
Are they nights that you wish where you look back and think, if only he was about when I was about?
Not really, no. I would be very foolish to sort of nudge my career and what I got out of boxing. So I think what I got out of boxing, I could never go, I could have, because I'm so grateful for what I did get out of boxing. So no, I'm not. I never think to myself, I wish he was there. I'm just extremely grateful for what I did get out of boxing, and I've always focused on that more than what if.
And just finally, around nights like this, as you mentioned there, like I'm sure you miss boxing sometimes, and some days you maybe don't, maybe you do. What does it mean to you, like nights like this when you are outside the ropes? Does it bring, does it make you feel good? Does it make you miss it a little bit more? How does it feel?
No, I get the same enjoyment out of it because I'm in the ring, I'm there, I'm experiencing it. The emotions are high, and I'm involved, but I'm not getting punched in the face, so it's great. Usually when the emotions are high, I'm the one taking the digs in the cub. And now I'm not, so now it's slightly better on that side of the rope.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan Burnett, I'll not take up any more of your time. Fingers crossed for a big 2025 for all your fighters. Yeah, thanks very much for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.